Hi guys, it's Miss Russell. I'm here to show you our second part for our pattern monster project. It's going to take me just a moment to get the camera angled down so that you will see what we're doing. If you remember last week we were talking about patterns. I'm going to put it right over here so you can kind of see what we were making. Here we go. I had to make my own version of what's called a document camera. So, right here, this is our finished project. I should show you where we were last week. Last week, we created a paper full of patterns using our primary colors. I hope you found some of our primary color videos on our Bitmoji classroom and explored them. We also have some pattern videos where you can dance and clap your patterns out, so be sure to check out the Bitmoji classroom for more resources with our project. Some of you may have had paint and you may have painted over these, and some of you may not have, and it's okay if you didn't have paint. If you chose to color them in, that all works too. But today, I'm going to show you how to add monsters on top of these using what's called layering. So you're going to need scissors, you're going to need some glue, and once again, you're going to use your primary colored crayons. So go get all of that ready. I'm going to set our finished project so you can see that as we go. Of course, your project does not have to look exactly like mine. You can change the monsters as we go to anything you want. You'll want a second piece of paper, so go find some paper. And I'm going to start by drawing the shapes of my monsters. You can see the shapes I used. What's this one? Yeah. There's your circle, square, and way down here is your triangle. I'm going to start with my circle monster. Now, if you don't know how to draw a circle, it's okay. I just want you to practice and try. I'm going to choose yellow. Hopefully you'll be able to see when I do my yellow. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to draw a big circle. Oh, there's a little, my table has a little knot in it, so it just made a little extra line on my circle. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it. Now take your time, color your circle in the best you can. Do not add eyes, do not add a mouth. Just color the circle in solid. I'm going to switch colors. I'll pick up my blue. And I think with my blue, I'm going to go for a triangle. There we are. Now take your time and once again, color that shape in. Oop, oop, it shakes my camera, so I won't do that. I do have one already colored that I'll put in front of the camera in just a moment. Take your time, fill this one in. And then you're going to have one more color to go along with our last primary color. That's red. Hopefully you guys remember primary colors are the very first colors. They are colors that you cannot mix together to make. Meaning I cannot mix together two colors to make red. I have to find red in nature or go to the store and buy some more. Same thing with yellow and blue. We cannot make them, we have to find them. Okay, I'm going to put my paper over here that has my shapes already colored on. See how nice and solid I've colored them? I want you to do the same. And then let's cut them out. I know it's hard to cut sometimes as we're learning. Take your time, you can do it. I'm going to cut mine out. Think about how you're holding those scissors. Make sure your thumb is in the small hole, and depending on how big the bigger hole is, you might be able to fit 3 fingers in. Some of you are going to hold it with your left and your right hand. They'll just have to depend. You'll have to try and see which hand you hold your scissors with. Parents, if you do notice that they are using their left hand, you really do need to go find left-handed scissors. It does make a big difference. I have left-handed scissors in my classroom for my lefties. There's my triangle. I've got it cut out. Now I'll go ahead and cut out my circle. And it's okay if it doesn't come out as a perfect circle. Mine's not going to. See, it's a little lumpy here and there. More practice and you'll get it more round. And my square. Do not throw your scraps away. We might use them when we add other things to our monsters. So now I have my 3 shapes. I'm going to bring back my pattern paper from last week. There it is. Because we need to glue these guys on. Now when you're using your glue, I really like to use the liquid glue a lot more than stick glue. I don't think stick glue really lasts very long. Things tend to fall off after it dries. So I'm going to take my glue, and on my square I'm going to use 4 itty bitty dots right down in the corners. Don't use a puddle. 4 dots is plenty. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll put it right here. If some extra glue comes out around it, that's okay, let it dry. It'll dry and you won't even see it. For my triangle, I've got 3 corners, so I'm going to put 3 dots. Itty bitty. You have to practice on that. And maybe I'll put it, I know it's a little off of the camera view, but I'm going to put him right there. And now I have my circle. No, I'm not going to use one big puddle of glue. I'm going to use my dots again. And I think I'm going to go back to 4 dots on this one. One of the big things we work on is not using too much glue so that our papers aren't all wet and soggy as we're working. And I'll put this one way down here. So that's the start of our monsters. You can see from our finished one, we still have a lot more to do. I'm going to go back to my paper that I already cut things out of, and you should have some paper left. And now I'm going to work on eyeballs. So if I'm adding an eyeball to my red square, I don't want to add a red eyeball. It'll be hard to see. So choose one of your other colors. You can even mix your colors if you want to layer them together. I think for my square, I'm going to do 2 eyeballs, and I'm just going to draw circles. And maybe for my circle, actually, I'm using yellow right now, so I'll go to my triangle, and I'm going to do 3 eyeballs. 1, 2, 3. And for my other one, of course, you can choose different. If you want to do 5 eyeballs, do 5 eyeballs. It's your monster. And let's color them in solid. Oh, yes, sorry. I'll try not to shake the table. I know it shakes the camera. I'll figure something out for next project. How I put my camera down so you guys can see, but not shake the table. Now I told you this was going to be layering. Layering means I'm going to glue things on top of each other. Now I've got my eyeballs, but one of the things I'm missing right now is called a pupil. Do you see that right in the middle? For a person, our pupils are black. It's that black dot in the center of your eyeball. It's what allows the light to come into your eye so you can see. So I'm going to go and I'm going to add my pupils to these. Maybe on my blue, I'll use my red, and you'll have to push a little hard to make sure it shows up. Maybe I'll have 2 dot pupils. Maybe on my yellow, I'll switch it up and I'll make X star-like pupils. Oh, I think I'm going to stick with blue because if I try and use my yellow on top of red, you usually won't see it. So I think for my red eyeball, maybe I'll just do a line for a pupil. Now when I cut these out, I'm not going to glue them on my monsters just yet. I'm going to start by cutting out my red eyeball. I'm going to cut all the eyeballs out and lay them down. This next part, when I do glue them down, you're going to have to be really careful about not using too much glue. Otherwise, it's going to make it really hard when we start cutting out the next layer. I'm going to cut these out and lay them down. Now it looks like my table has eyeballs. It's always kind of fun to take some eyeballs and put them around places. Like maybe you have a lamp. Oh, can I get my lamp in here? Maybe if I added an eyeball to my lamp, it'd look kind of funny. I got 2 more eyeballs to cut out. If I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video. Now that I have them all cut out, I don't want to glue them onto my shapes just yet because I want to add 1 extra layer to them. If you look at our finished ones right here, you see how that eyeball has a white layer around it? Well, that's because I took them and I had some extra paper still that I've been cutting from. Well, I took those eyeballs with a tiny dot of glue on each one. Put this over here so you can see it. There's my glue. And then I glued it onto my extra white paper. Now I told you if you use too much glue on this part, it's going to be really hard when we go to cut these out. I'm going to glue them down, but I don't want them to touch each other. I want some space. Got 1 more eyeball to go. Now that I have them glued down to my white paper, I'm going to draw, and I don't have to use the same color, I can use a different color. I'm going to draw another circle around them. I keep hitting my table. My table's one of those plastic tables. It has a line in it. There. Maybe I'll switch colors. I'm back on that line again. I had a little extra glue come out on this one. It almost made it hard for me to draw my circle. Now I'm going to cut these out and glue them onto my monsters. There's one cut out. And remember, each of my monsters had different number of eyes. One monster only had 1 eye. We call that a cyclops. It has 1 eye. One of my monsters had 2 eyes, and the other monster had 3. So layering, that's when you glue things on top of each other to create your work. I've still only been using my primary colors. Now that I have all my eyeballs cut out, I'm going to move them so I can put my paper back. Bring this back over here. And let's see. I have a yellow eyeball, but I don't want to put it on my yellow monster. I want to put it somewhere else. I had 3 yellow eyeballs. I'm going to go for my triangle. I just like triangles to have 3 eyes. I think it's because of their shape. Being a 3-sided shape. See how funny he looks with 2 eyes already? You could leave him with 2 eyes. You don't have to do 3. I've got 2 blue eyes, so I think I'm going to put them on the circle. It's okay if they go outside of your shape. your monster. Oh wait. Ooh, I'm glad I looked. If I did that, I'd put red on red. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna switch and give my square 2 eyeballs, but give my circle the 1 eyeball. He's my Cyclops. There's the start. I've got monsters with eyeballs. Let's add mouths. If you have extra paper, I have just a little extra paper right here. That's where I'm gonna draw my mouth. I'm just gonna do 1 monster for this last part of my demonstration, but you have 3 monster mouths to do, so don't forget that. To start my mouth, I'm just gonna do a simple one where I just draw a straight line with a big smile attached. If you want to add teeth to that, you can. You can see in my examples where I drew teeth. So maybe I'll give this one sharp teeth. And color it in. If you want to add lips, you decide how they are. I kind of like adding the M-shaped lips. So I come through here with a little hump and a little hump right there. But then I fill them in. And I come back down. Add a bottom lip to it. And I could even fill the white part of the inside of the mouth in if I wanted. See how I did on this one? But then this one I didn't. You choose. But then cut it out. So I'm just cutting around the lips. Once again, your lips can be completely different than mine. So now I have to decide what monster I want to add this to. Maybe the square has some really big lips, or the Cyclops. I think I'm gonna go with the square. Remember, use dots of glue, not a lot. Now I want you to go ahead and add a mouth to each of your other 2 monsters. But I'm gonna show you how to add hair. So up here, you see where I added hair. And with your extra paper, so here's some of my extra paper, you can color the edge in any way you want. So if I just color, maybe I'll even make it multicolored. Maybe I'll come in and I'll take my yellow. Oh, they're overlapping. You'll have to investigate what yellow and blue make. See if you can tell. Can you tell what yellow and blue make? It's green. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this out, but then I'm gonna cut it into lines. And for my monster up here, I'm gonna put some dots, not big dots. And add my hair. It's got crazy hair, multicolored. They're sticking together on me. And if you have extra, you can use it, or you can save it for a different monster. Because I still have 2 other monsters I might add hair to. You can see down here on my finished one, I did not add hair to my triangle. But I did add hair to the circle and the square. Take your time, finish your creations, send a picture of your work to me. You can either send it to me on Google Classroom, you can send it to me on Artsonia. I'm really hoping you guys are learning to post on Artsonia. That's where I'm trying to get our projects all going to. I know some of us are having trouble getting new accounts going, so I'm going to keep working on that. Or you can send it to me on Seesaw. Thanks for creating with me. I look forward to our next project.